this whole M46 thing, God specifically just gave this vision of creating a movement of men who are intentional about loving and leading their families. That's all it is. We're just intentional about this. We're changing the narrative. People keep talking about how men aren't doing this and men aren't doing that. There are a band of brothers who are willing to stand and say, you know what, as for me and my house, we are serving God with our whole heart, with our whole mind, with all of our strength. I'm willing to be that standard. I'm willing to be that mentor. I'm willing to speak life and blessing and favor into those that God's called me to. I'm not backing away from it. I'm stepping confidently in it. Is there anybody here that can say, yeah, that's me? Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. So we're making this real easy. We understand that that's the strategy. We understand that that's God's heart. But how are we going to do it? Everybody say once a month. 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 Bishop Davis and I, we've already recorded 6 months of taping. We already have 18 months of content of a short 2-minute video. Remember 2-minute warning? 2-minute video with a theme scripture and a challenge, and a 6-question discussion card for you to talk to your kids about. 6 questions. Once a month. Is that hard? No. Is that hard? No. But what if you had hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of men every single month having conversations with their children about the things of God? Do you think that might change some things? Yeah. That's once a month. Once a week, say once a week. Once a week, we all need coaching because there's a whole bunch of stuff that we need to continue to fine tune and focus on. Just like in football, every year you go back through your stance, right? You go back through the fundamentals. So every week, a short 2 minutes, short nugget. Hey, this week let's focus on our communication. Hey, this week, let's focus on conflict resolution. Hey, this week, let's focus on how do we listen better. This week, let's focus on healthy relationships. Hey, this week, let's focus on short nuggets, just something to focus on to get movement in the right direction. Is that too hard? No. Is that hard? No. Once a day. Somebody say once a day. Once a day. I said somebody say once a day. Once a day. Once a day, we're going to commit to pray for our kids. We have a 30-day challenge that has a scripture and a simple prayer to pray for our children. A simple prayer. Just to be intent. This is about intentionality. There are many men in here that do this. This is about being intentional, and watch this, helping my brother who may not have had somebody do it. Yeah. Now it starts having some nice dialogue. Hey, how'd it go for you? Hey, how'd your conversation go? Hey, what's going on here? And so watch this. Not any one of you should do this alone. Because no man is an island. I need you. I need your stories. I need your wisdom. I need your input. I need your accountability. Because anything that I say I'm going to do, I'm going to need to be able to own up and fess up to somebody else and say, yep, I'm not only going to do it, but I want you to hold me accountable to it. So, I'm just going to close with this little poem that I heard, and then I'm going to ask you a question to see who's willing to take the stand and be intentional in this thing. And the poem goes like this. Isn't it strange how kings, every one of you in here is a king. I don't care how old you are or how young you are. You're all kings. Isn't it strange how kings and queens and clowns that caper and sawdust rings and common people like you and me are builders of eternity? For each of us is given a list of rules, a shapeless mass, and a bag of tools, and each must fashion ere life is flown a stumbling block or a stepping stone. Every single one of us right now is creating something for our children to follow. Every one of us right now have the opportunity to stop generational curses by simply speaking life and blessing and engaging our children. Not just your biological seed, but the seed that's around you on your Little League teams and those around you that you know. Just say, hey man, I love you. If you're already going to the movies, bring them along with you. You never know how one moment, one activity, one thought, one statement, one card, one gift, one act of love can transform somebody's life forever. So I'm going to ask, there's a good lot of men in here and a lot of lives that can change. I think on average, every man can impact between 4 to 6 different people, between your wife or your significant other and kids. So you're talking about at least over 1,000 people that can be impacted by the men that's in this room right now. If every man in this room went home and gave a hug, or every man in this room picked up their phone and called and said, hey, I just want to let you know that I love you. Do you realize that that person's going to go to school, go to work, it's something, they're going to have a pep in their step because you said something to them. That's the weight of the influence that you have. So if you're here and you say, you know what? I believe that there is a call that God's calling me to get into this place and be intentional about being the leader that God's called me to be. And I'm not going to back away from it. And I want people to walk with me as we go down this path together. And I'm willing to do it. I may not know everything, but I do know one thing. It's easier to do it with a group of like-minded men than me trying to figure this thing out on my own. So if you want to be able to say, you know what, I just want to link up and I just want to be the leader that God's called me to be, and I want to link up and get as much information as I can to be intentional in this thing, let me just see you raise your hand right where you are.